YouTube. How's everybody doing out there? We are headed into week 2 games. Actually, I'm cutting it a little bit close today, about 30 minutes early. We had an interesting week 1, and what's really interesting as we look at week 2 matchups, I got 4 or 5 teams here that are staring down the barrel of an 0-2 start that are teams that I was really high on. I think many people were really high on. And as we all know, teams that historically start 0-2 have a very, very slim chance of making the playoffs. So this is going to be a really interesting week for a lot of good teams out there in the NFL. Last week we did straight up pick'ems, but this week we're going to go against the spread and have a little bit more fun. I did miss Thursday night with you guys. We had Washington by 3. I was actually going to give the 3 points and go with the Redskins, so I will openly admit I would have lost that one. But we'll go ahead and jump right into the remaining 15 games for week 2 as we prepare for kickoff. So right to it, we've got the Bengals at the Bears, with the Bears giving 4 points. I will take the 4 points, and I will take Cincinnati in that game. I'm actually pretty confident here that Cincinnati might just get the all-out win. That was an impressive win against Minnesota. I don't think Chicago's all that good unless they go to Justin Fields a lot sooner than they originally anticipated. Right now, I'm going to say Matt Nagy's going to be a little bit stubborn, and I think the Bengals are not only going to cover, but I think the Bengals win that game. Houston at Cleveland. Cleveland given 13 points. Listen, Houston was impressive last week. I know they played Jacksonville, but either way, they beat up on Jacksonville pretty good. I expected with all the distractions. I did not expect that to happen. Cleveland given a lot here, coming off a really tough loss to Kansas City. We'll see how they bounce back. I think Cleveland bounces back. I think Cleveland wins by double digits, but I do not think they cover. Give me the 13 and give me Houston. Rams at Indianapolis. Okay, this is one of those games that I talked about. Indy is now 0-1, and Indy for many people is a division favorite. They weren't my division favorite, and they're staring down here the LA Rams coming into town, possible 0-2 start. The Rams are given 3 points. I will give the 3 and take the Rams in this and put Indy to an 0-2 start. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Colts respond today. Buffalo at Miami. Miami had a big win last week against the Patriots. Buffalo had a shocking loss at home to the Steelers. Buffalo given 2.5. I'm telling you right now, guys, I'm taking the points and I'm taking Miami. This is going to be a really interesting game. Can you imagine if the Bills start the season 0-2? They were heavy playoff favorites. They were heavy AFC favorites to be right there at the end with Kansas City again. I think Buffalo squeaks out the win today, but I'll take the 2.5 in Miami. The Patriots at the Jets. New England given 3.5. I'll give the 3.5 and take New England. I just think the Jets just continue to fall. They didn't have a bad week 1, but I still think New England is going to take them out. I think New England wins by a touchdown or more. San Francisco at Philadelphia. This is going to be an interesting one, right? Because San Francisco really started to let off the gas against the Lions last week, and Philadelphia was a really impressive team in Atlanta last week. Beat them up bad. I think Philly's offense shocked a lot of people. I'm going to take the 4 and take Philadelphia, and I would be very cautious here if you're a 49ers fan. They've already lost Jason Verrett for the year in the secondary. Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor are no joke. If they're not going to get to Jalen Hurts behind this improving Philly offensive line, San Francisco might be in a little bit of trouble today. This could be a close one, folks. I'll take the 4 and I'll take Philadelphia. Las Vegas at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh given 5.5. You know, this one was a little bit interesting to me early in the week. I was a little hesitant to take Pittsburgh in the 5.5, but with Josh Jacobs out, I will take Pittsburgh, and I will take Pittsburgh by the 5.5. I know they won ugly last week, but they're very well coached, and I like the grit of this Pittsburgh team. New Orleans at Carolina. This is going to be a fun game to watch after watching how these two teams played last week. New Orleans given 3.5 in Carolina. I just think this offense has got a different dynamic with Jameis Winston at the helm, and I think Carolina, I still think they're still learning with Sam Darnold. So I will take the 3.5, and I will give the 3.5, and I'll take New Orleans. Denver at Jacksonville. This one feels like the trap game. Like, what does Vegas know that we don't? Denver looked really solid at the Giants last week. If it wasn't for a garbage touchdown at the end, they win by 3 scores. And Jacksonville got pounded by Houston. Obliterated by the Texans. And Denver's only given 2.5. This is a really odd one. So Vegas must know something I don't, but I'm going to roll the dice anyway and say Denver covers easily. I give the 2.5 and take the Broncos. Minnesota at Arizona, another game I'm really interested in. Minnesota was my NFC North Division winner, and they're going to a very tough, very hot Cardinals team right now, and Arizona's only given 2.5. So I'm going to call for, I'll take the points with Minnesota. I think Arizona is going to win this game, but it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I'll take the 2.5, and I'll take Minnesota. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's given 10.5. Look, we all saw the games last week, right? I'll give the 10.5. I'll take Tampa Bay. Let's just call it. Atlanta's defense is terrible. They gave up over 30 points last week to the Eagles. I think Tampa Bay's just going to roll these guys. And Tampa Bay is looking to make a statement. Their defense did not play well against Dallas. I expect them to be much better and bounce back against Falcons. Dallas at the Chargers. Boy, I'm gonna love watching this game too, because Dallas is a lot of people's favorites for the NFC East, and Dallas is staring about an 0-2 start as well. Chargers are given 3. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout, but given the fact that DeMarcus Lawrence, is out for the next 8 weeks, he's Dallas's best defensive player on a defense that was already reeling. The Chargers, I think, are a sack or an interception away from blowing this game wide open. I give the 3. I'll take the Chargers, move the Cowboys to 0-2. Here's another one, folks. Tennessee at Seattle. Remember, Tennessee was my AFC South Division winner, and they lost. They got beat up pretty bad by the Cardinals, and now they travel cross-country to Seattle. Seattle's given 3.5. Look, I still love Tennessee. We've got guys coming back from injury. Taylor Lewan, Bud Dupree, Caleb Farley, their number 1 pick. Caleb Farley. I still want to see Tennessee kind of gel a little bit. This is a team that needs some growth time. So 0-2 I'm not as concerned about, and I'm taking Seattle here, folks. I give the 3.5, and I take Seattle for the straight-up win. Kansas City at Baltimore. I'm telling you, I watched that game. Baltimore did not look good against the Raiders. That offensive line, the loss of those running backs, the loss of Marcus Peters, I think Baltimore is in for a little bit of a struggle this year, and I know they were big AFC West favorites too. They are staring down the barrel of an 0-2 start, and Kansas City had a big win. Come back from that deficit against a very tough Browns team. This is a Kansas City team I don't know is going to suffer from the historic Super Bowl hangover. Historically we see Super Bowl losers don't fare well the following year. Very often they miss the playoffs. I don't think that's going to be the case. I give the 2.5, and I take Kansas City to beat up Baltimore pretty good, even though Baltimore's at home. And last but not least, this one's going to be really interesting, is Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay's giving 10. This is the same Lions team that really made it interesting against the 49ers. It's a Green Bay team that got dismantled by the New Orleans Saints. What's going to be the bounce back? Okay, this Green Bay offensive line is not good. They're not facing a monster defensive line here in Detroit. But this is going to be interesting. What if Green Bay starts 0-2 and they lose to the Lions, okay? I don't know that that's going to happen, but I'll take the 10 points. And this is a special shout-out to my guy Brian out in Manhattan Beach, biggest Lions fan I know. I'll take the 10 points, and I take Detroit in a very close loss to Green Bay. Green Bay Packer fans need to be on upset alert today. Better tell your quarterback to get his head straight and play better, because otherwise Lions might just do it. So that's it, guys. When I'm looking at this, based on my picks, I got Tennessee starting 0-2. Remember, they're my NFC South winner. I've got Indy starting 0-2. They were a lot of other people's pick for the NFC South. I got Minnesota, my NFC North pick to start 0-2. Baltimore, I've got starting off 0-2 in the very tough AFC North. And then we've got Chicago. What's going to happen with the Bears in the Bengals? If they start to struggle, will Matt Nagy pull the trigger? Will he get Andy Dalton out of there? So many people, myself included, believe that Justin Fields should have started the season. The team responds differently when he's under center. If Matt Nagy wants to keep his job, I would highly advise him. He should probably get Justin Fields in there more sooner than later, or the Bears could also be staring down an 0-2 start, and Matt Nagy might be starting to be on his way out of Chicago. I'm excited to see where it lands, guys. We'll see how my picks did. Can't wait to hear from all of you to see how you agree, disagree. We'll talk soon.